I have been very much enjoying flying the Carbon Crafter X-Cub Tundra, but I wanted to learn how to use the Garmin G3X to do ILS approaches to some runways. So I picked the Lewiston, Idaho airport. Our flight takes off from the Wood Brothers Ranch, and we go a little southwest, and then we turn mostly west with a little bit to the north, headed directly over to the Lewiston airport. And this is the approach plate for runway 26, although it's kind of messed up. If you look, it shows our final approach fix is CFLSK, and it shows the waypoint CUPEV to be closer. However, it turns out CUPEV, that waypoint shows up 4 miles prior to reaching CFLSK, and their altitudes are off. So I'll show you what the altitudes come up in the actual flight plan, and you can see the difference. And make note in the upper left corner of the approach plate that our localizer frequency for runway 26 is 109.7. And speaking of the localizer frequency, I'm going to set that in both nav1 and nav2 and make sure that I have it transferred to the active. Here in the flight plan, note that the altitude constraint for CUPEV is 4,400 feet, and for CFLSK is 3,700 feet. And also note that CUPEV occurs 4 miles prior to CFLSK. So we'll set our cruise altitude at 4,400 feet, and later on we will bring that down to 3,700 feet. And we will set an initial climb by vertical speed at 800 feet per minute. So that setup will initially navigate via FMS, or GPS if you will, and then we will switch to the localizer as we approach. Time to get out of Dodge. See you in the air. Well, okie dokie then, I've already got the flaps up, so the airplane is clean, and we're off to Lewiston. And we're making good progress toward our 4,400 feet. We just got the 1,000-foot warning there. Okay, I'm going to adjust my prop back a little bit and reduce my RPM. All right, let's take the drone camera outside and let you look at some of the nice Idaho scenery. So now we'll go ahead and prepare for our descent down to 3,700 feet. Although we won't activate that yet. We'll just set the altitude at 3,700 and not go there quite yet. Although if you look way off in the distance off the nose of the airplane, you'll see the runway lights flashing. So now we're going to engage vertical speed and get ourselves headed down to 3,700 feet. You'll notice up at the top of the PDF it says Alt S, which means we are headed toward that target of 3,700 feet. When you're descending like this, you just need to be sure to keep an eye on your airspeed and back off on the throttle so you don't overspeed. Well, we're right in line with our localizer, so we can switch the CDI now from FMS, which we're doing right here. And if you'll notice, it's on localizer 1, which is what we tuned to before we ever took off. And if you notice at the top now, it says localizer instead of FMS. And the needle is not magenta any longer, it's green. And up at the top of the PFD it says GS in white. That means the glide slope is armed, and if you look to the left of the altitude tape, you'll see a green G at the top with a diamond below it. That diamond will start moving down as we approach the glide slope. Once that white GS at the top of the PFD turns to green, that means we will have captured the glide slope. If you look over at the airspeed tape, you'll notice I've been slowing down. Once I get down to the white bar, I can start extending flaps. Notice two things. Our altitude is descending because the glide slope has got us. The GS at the top of the PFD is green because we are now riding the glide slope down toward the runway. We'll turn off autopilot just before we get there. My airspeed is in the white arc now, so I can go to my first level of flaps. Flaps 1 coming up. And how about flaps 2 right about now? For the moment, my job is to manage the speed to make sure we don't, 1, stall, or 2, land too fast. Just to make it clear, the autopilot is flying the plane. I'm not touching the controls right now. Disengaging autopilot. Wow, even though it was a 2-footer, there was only one bounce. Well, I truly hope this has been helpful and interesting, and that you'll enjoy flying the Cub Crafter's X-Cub Tundra and take it out on a spin. I have yet to do an RNAV in it, but I understand you can, so I'm going to work on that next. But thank you very much for joining me on this little flight, and I hope to see you guys again soon. In the meantime, keep flying, have fun. That's the important part. And as soon as I get this thing parked, I'm going to take the drone camera up and do a little flight up above the airport here and take a look around Lewiston, Idaho. I hope you'll stay tuned for that.